put us back in session. Cause number 23 CCCR 1327. Case South State, Texas versus Tavares Bache. Mr. Bache, earlier in this case, entered a plea of no contest. Mr. Bache also acknowledged that, and prior to, he acknowledged that State's Exhibit 1 of misdemeanor plea management. He acknowledged that he recognized that document, that was his signatures on page 3 and his initials is on page 2 of the same document. I also have another document here. This document is titled Trial Court Certification, Defendant's Right of Appeal. You recognize this document, Mr. Bache? And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement? Second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement? And Mr. Bache, I also have a document that is titled Discovery Certification. You recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Now, Mr. Bache, before you sign and initial these documents that I just showed you, did your attorney go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything that your attorney went over? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, misdemeanor plea management, and State's Exhibit 2, the probable cause affidavit. States you like office States 1 and 2. You like that? Ms. Lindsay Scott, do you have any objections? No objections. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. And again, Ms. Scott, you've advised the counsel, Ms. Bache, in this case, is there any evidence that he's currently admitted in competent trial?
No, Your Honor.
Hey, Mr. Bache, your attorney, Ms. Scott, is advising counsel you. Are you satisfied with her representation? Has she provided fully effective and competent legal representation? Okay, Mr. Scott, Mr. Bache, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers was freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement? We
do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for plea of guilty or no contest, the state agreed to recommend 10 days in the Jefferson County Jail and court costs. It's been has credit for 10 days. We asked this to be a time served, tax on retirement, the court costs, and run concurrent with the previous case.
Okay, Mr. Scott, state is not Scott, Mr. Bache. The state is offering that you serve 10 days in Jefferson County Jail, but you would not have to serve any time in Jefferson County Jail in this case because you've already served 10 days in Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for the time that you've already served. Court costs in this case will be tax and charged. That simply means that the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, you would not have to pay the court costs in this case. In this case, we'll run concurrent with the companion case, cause number 23 CCCR 1156. Mr. Bache, do you understand what you've been charged with? And do you understand the state's offer? And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer? Mr. Bache, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Bache, this will conclude your cases. If you do not have anything else holding you in jail on these cases, if there's nothing else holding you in jail, you should be getting out today. Okay, you're gonna stand on the X next to your attorney, follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you'll follow the bailiff and you have a blessed day. You're welcome. No. Okay, coach, back in session. Court is in session in cause number M328-326, case to solve the state of Texas versus Ronald Villegas.
Yeah.
Mr. Villegas, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Villegas, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Villegas, you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Mr. Vegas, you may put your hand down. Now, Mr. Vegas, I have before me, Ms. Scott, do you waive a record in Mr. Vegas' case?
Yeah.
Mr. Vegas, I have before me a document that is titled Motion to Revoke Probation. This motion was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this motion, it alleges that you, Ronald Villegas Jr., was tried on October the 4th of 2021 for the Class A misdemeanor offense of DWI second. And your punishment was assessed at 1 year confinement in the Jefferson County Jail at $1,000 fine. The confinement was probated for a period of 2 years. In this motion, the state alleges that you, Ronald Villegas Jr., committed the offense. Well, there's 3 allegations in this motion. The state is abandoning allegations 1 and 2. Is that correct, state?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, that means that the state will only be proceeding on allegation number 3. And in allegation number 3, Mr. Vega alleges that you, Ronald Villegas Jr., failed to immediately report to probation officer your address as ordered, your arrest as ordered by the court in violation of condition 11 of your probation order. Is that true or not true?
True.
True. Now, are you pleading true to allegation number 3 freely and voluntarily?
Yeah.
And are you pleading true because it is true?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, Mr. Villegas, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment, also labeled as State's Exhibit number 1. Okay. Do you recognize this document?
Yeah, that's the one for 200 days.
Well, it's a document that says titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. Do you recognize the document?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, now on page 2 of this document, there are a set of initials, RB, on a line next to a box that's checked MTRP, which means motion to revoke probation, true to allegation 3. And it also has here state abandons allegations 1 and 2. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yeah.
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature. Oh, he got his initials on page 3.
I might have missed that.
Hmm?
Well, I originally signed it up more like a plea before I realized it was motion, but I might have missed
Okay,
it.
no.
We fixed it, I mean.
No, I'm just saying he has to
Oh,
sign his name. He put his
Oh.
initials on right there. He got RB, should be just Ronald Villegas. He can sign over the time for it. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Vegas, on page 3 of this document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is that your signature?
Yeah.
On the next document that's titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeals, do you recognize this document?
Yeah.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yeah.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. First box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right to appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yeah.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Vegas, before you sign and initial these documents, Did you read these documents?
Yeah.
And did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yeah.
And did you understand everything that your attorney went over?
Yeah.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yeah.
Mr. Biggers, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yeah.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, would you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any
No,
objections?
no objection.
No objections. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Biggers, your attorney, Ms. Scott, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with her representation?
Yes.
Has she provided full, effective, and competent legal representation? Ms. Scott, you've advised and counseled Mr. Biggs. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Biggs, I will accept your plea of true to allegation number 1. I'm sorry, allegation number 3. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for a plea of true to allegation number 3, the state's agreed to recommend 200 days in Jefferson County Jail. He's got credit for 200 days. Therefore, we'll be amending the judgment of 1 year to 200 days. We'd ask to be time served and tax return court costs.
Okay, now, Mr. Villegas, the court is going to find that the evidence is sufficient to revoke your probation. Your probation is hereby revoked. The state is offering that you serve 200 days in the Jefferson County Jail. You'll be given credit for the 200 days that you've already served, which simply means you will not have to serve any more time on this case. And the court costs in this case will be taxed and retired. That means that the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, you will not have to pay it.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Villegas, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
And do you think that the state's offer is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Mr. Villegas, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Villegas, this will conclude your case. If you do not have anything else holding you in jail, you should be getting out of jail today. Now, you're going to stand on the X next to your attorney, follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you can follow the bailiff. Jefferson County Code Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session and calls number 23 CCCR 1266. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Derek Anthony Campbell. Mr. Campbell, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Campbell, would you please raise your right hand?
Say something on my right hand. You get dirty sometimes. All right? You get dirty sometimes. I'm letting you know, I'm being real with you.
Okay, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I'm trying.
Okay, you may put your hand down.
I hate to throw woman's hands so dirty though.
Oh, well.
It should be cut off. Every hand, every part of my body should be cut off, sir. That's the positive thing I've said to any man in my life. They can cry about it, whatever. Every hand I got should be cut off. But God gave me one more chance, second chance. That's the best chance I ever had in my life. That second.
Okay, God is
I
a God of,
reckon
he's a God of another chance.
He's a good God.
Yes.
He's not just another God. He's a good God. He'll never give up on you if you keep trying from. Keep telling them how you feel every day, and they might help you instead of putting with criminals that don't care about how we feel no more. I know about how I feel. I can't help what happened in the past. That's just some of the feelings we feel. You gotta try to look at something else differently about life.
Okay, now,
Instead of
Mr.
giving people life.
let me do this, here, Mr.
I'm
Camp,
just tell you something.
Mr.
Now,
Campbell.
what's your name, Judge? Oh, what's your name, Judge?
What's
What's your name, Judge?
okay,
What's your name?
what's my name?
Yes, sir.
My name is Terrence L. Holmes.
Who gave you? Your
Okay.
mom, right?
That's right. Now, let me
I'm
ask you
saying
this.
your dad, right?
Yeah, let
Okay.
me ask you this, Mr. Campbell.
So smart man.
Mr. Campbell, do you understand what you've been charged with?
What would you think of it?
I'm asking you the question.
No, you gotta be here, Derek. What you think?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what you've been charged with.
Listen, and I'm still on this.
You, now, Ms. Scott, you waive a record?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Campbell,
She told me.
I have before me a document that is titled information that was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office.
I see.
In this information, it
I
alleges
see.
that
It ain't true. I
you,
see.
Derek Anthony Campbell, on or about June 10th of 2023, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor
I
offense.
wasn't here in 2023.
Okay, you wasn't
Okay,
here.
I wasn't here. I was in Russ. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
I was in Russ.
okay. I don't think we need.
No, I'm saying.
Okay, now let me do this here.
I'm trying to tell you. You told me to tell the truth.
Okay, let me do this here.
Okay.
Now, all proceedings and trials in Texas are to be public.
So much.
Listen, I hadn't even finished. Ought to be held public. However, pursuant to this case of Lilly versus State, the right to a public trial is not absolute and may be outweighed by other competing interests such as interest in security, the non-disclosure of public information, or that a person get a fair trial.
Get somebody age again?
Now, Ms. Scott,
They told me to. I see. I didn't have.
now, Ms. Scott,
Who is Scott?
are you, the attorney, Ms. Scott, are you requesting that this portion of the hearing be closed to the public for the judge to conduct an informal inquiry? Okay, the court finds that
Don't seem like
the party seeking the closure of this hearing have advanced an overriding interest that is likely to be prejudiced to the defendant. The court finds that the closure is no broader than necessary to protect the defendant's interest. The court has considered reasonable alternatives. And the court also finds that the party seeking to close this hearing has vast and overriding interest that is likely to be prejudiced. And the court makes these